Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to check out some DC Blades Pikal folders, the Scythe, the Rev, the Vendetta. We'll get into it. And we're going to do a random knife giveaway tonight. We are giving away this beauty right here. Compliments of Shieldin Knives. Shieldin Knives sent me this a while ago. You know, I saw, you probably saw the video I put out reviewing it, so to speak, and showing it off up close. It's really nice. It's called the Shieldin Kite. It's got 154 cm blade steel, an awesome bar lock. It's got a very excellent crossbar lock. And this one is in G10. So we're going to be giving this one away later tonight to anyone who can muster up #knife in the comments. That's right. #knife in the comments. We'll get you this here Shieldin Knives Kite. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful drop point, 154 cm blade steel. Also comes with this odd but useful belt. Oh yeah, that's right. Comes with this odd but useful belt pouch. No one really puts their folders, especially clipped folders, in a belt pouch. However, you can put your Leatherman and other things in there. But it also comes with one of these. I should have kept this for myself, but it fell out awkwardly on screen, so I have to show it to you and give this away with it. It came with this aftermarket, what do you call it, thumb stud, just like the Rev comes with. So I'll be giving that away with this. This thing is very nice as a front flipper, but thank you, Jim. But it is even better with a thumb stud, I would imagine. I like thumb studs better than front flippers. So there you have it. We will be giving this away. All you need to do is #knife in the comments. Marco, how you doing, sir? Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, good evening to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. OG Blade Reviews. Dave, always a pleasure, man. I mentioned you last night in the interview. I interviewed Michael Grosso last night, and Dave introduced me to him, and I'm very excited. Grab and Go Knife, the Agent 001. Thank you, man. I'm so glad you mentioned that, and I'm sorry I'm picking my teeth, but I just saw myself in the. I think I got something in my teeth, so I'm not going to smile tonight. James Hart, good to have you with us. And he says greetings, and I hope everyone is doing well. Well, we are doing well. James, how you doing, man? Paul Mills, hello, Bob DeMarco. Hello, Paul Mills. It's good to have you here, sir. Craig Vincent with us also. Evening, Bob, Jim, and TNKers, TNK-vers. Well, yeah, we know what you mean. Our latest gentleman junkie, Jammin Parker. Good to have you here, Jammin. Evening, guys. Glad to be back. Well, it's good to have you with us, as always, sir. Benedict Odie. Nice to have you, Benedict. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Good evening to you, sir. This is the knife I had under the knife cam just a moment ago. Hey, Will B. Evening, Jim, Bob, and fellow junkies. Well, evening, Will. This is the Cortada from Doug Markida, and I believe Fox Knives made this, and it was released through a company called Russian Blades. So yeah, it's a tri-way. What's the word I'm looking for? Collaboration. You're gonna have to excuse me. I had pasta, way more pasta than I should have eaten for dinner, and man, it's funny. I was just thinking, Christmas time. I've been mentioning this a lot. Christmas time, I put on a little extra weight. You know, hanging out with my parents, my family. We do a lot of eating, and then my dad and I love to have a late night scotch and chew the fat, you know, have our little political rants and such. And I put on a bit of weight. And tonight I was like, okay, I've been here before. How do I lose this weight? And I was like, okay, give up pasta, give up bread. And lately I've been making bread. Give up beer and alcohol and sweets and like everything that makes life good. Or not everything, but close to everything that makes life good. And I thought, you know, maybe I'll learn to live with this gut, but I do have to get rid of it because it's getting in the way of certain knife carry. And, you know, can't have that. Mike Hauser, nice to have you here, Mike. Howdy from Nebraska. Beautiful state of Nebraska, the state that grows more corn than Minnesota. Up yours, Minnesota. The windowless white van of the Midwest. Jeremy Nedro, nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, everyone, he says. Well, good evening to you, sir. Adrian Fighter 35, good to have you with us. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Knife Junkies. It's good to have the two of you, perhaps, Adrian. James Hart, yo, Jeremy. You ready for another big cold snap? I'm over here in eastern Wyoming. It's beautiful there. My mom and dad took us on these awesome trips out west when I was 10 and 11. And my sister and brother were young teenagers. My brother didn't make it on the second one because he was out west in Sasquatch country doing some camping. But we got to see Wyoming and how beautiful it is there. We also got to see Nebraska and many, many other places. So it's good to have you all here. Fred Grack, nice to have you here, Fred. Hashtag knife. I like it. Short, sweet, and to the point. And what's Fred talking about? Fred's talking about this right here. The Shieldin Knives Kite. 154 cm, G10 front flipper with a crossbar lock. This could be yours. All you have to do is put hashtag knife in the comments. This is not a gentleman junkie giveaway. This is an anyone who shows up and can type hashtag knife kind of giveaway. So happy to do that for you. Autumn Wind, nice to have you here, Autumn Wind. Hello, Bob. Hello, all, he says. It's good to have you here, Autumn Wind. Ron Crow. Hey, all, he says. Ron, it's good to have you with us. Crows play a very special and secretive role in the family of my life. And if my dad's watching, he knows what I'm talking about. Five Door. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Five Door, it's great to have you here. What was it? You posted some super deep cut in terms of knives this past week. I was so impressed. And then you had some great song with it too. And I thought, this guy's definitely about my age, and he definitely has some knives that I love, man. You've got an awesome collection. Mark Stallman, nice to have you here, Mark. Hey, Junkaholics, he says. Cortada is sweet. It is sweet. And there was a small version of this, too. I was very lucky to get this because I was at the Texas Custom Knife Show in 2023, and Doug Marcaida was there, and he brought a bunch of cool knives. I bid on this in a Red Wing. What was it called? Oh, I'm sorry. It was a military. I'll remember it. But there was an auction. I bid on this, and it was only because Doug Marcaida brought it with him. I'm so psyched because I missed this first time it came out. There was one of these, and then a smaller version. Both so cool. Split and Slices, we have Byron with us. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Good evening. And Thursday Night Knives. Just don't give up beef, venison, jerky, Bob. No, I will not. No, sir. I mean, that's what keeps us going. But to me, so does bread and pasta. I mean, I cannot deny my heritage. Jeremy Nudro says, a food fog is no joke. I've indulged a little too much on the sweets. I love sweets, but as I've gotten older, my sweets window has gotten narrow. I love dark chocolate. I love baked goods. You could keep candy all day long. Every once in a while, if my girls are indulging in the Haribo, I'll have a little gummy bear, but I don't like candy. I like baked goods, adult sweets. You know what I'm saying? OG says sharp knives to trim the fat. Oh no, please. From that steak, of course. Yes, that's right. From the steak. Well, I've been doing my 5 a.m. old man workout for 2 weeks in a row. And they say after 20 days, you develop a habit. So I'm trying to get back into that habit. I sadly let that go, I don't know, 6 months ago or so. And really, honestly, that's what keeps me going. And it's also what keeps me not going, oh, my back all the time. So it's good to be back in that saddle. Michael Upchurch, nice to have you here, Michael. Hello, gentlemen. Hey, Michael, that is a glorious beard you've got there, man. I must say, it's good to have you here with us. Jesse, good evening, Jesse. Evening, all, he says to us. And I say evening to you. I'm going to keep messing with this because my mic keeps flapping out. But these damn Rode mics, they are a pain in the ass. Apparently, they're great. But they're difficult to get the hang of. Chuma Cheeto, always nice to have the shape-shifting Cheeto with us. Hello, everyone, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. He's got some really cool knife designs, Cheeto does. Trent Costello, our large knife aficionado, good to have you here with us. No thanks to the folder. Grab and go today for me, Spartan Ronin Shinto. Nice choice, sir. Hey, just for you, I'll bust out the biggest knife on the table and show that off right now for Mr. Costello. This here is the Work Tuff Gear Puzon Predator Hunter Bowie. A very nice knife. And I got to say, man, this is a great batoner of the crappy wood I've got. I bought an eighth of a cord of terrible wood. I don't know, they didn't season it right or whatever it is, but it's very hard to split, even with an axe. But somehow this sucker, right through wood with a baton, is great. I love this thing. Nice big knife. Also inspired by my favorite movie knife ever, and that's the big knife that everyone in Dutch's team in Predator, they all had this. They didn't all wield it like Billy did, but they all had this knife. And the funny thing is not this knife, but the knife that this was inspired by. Funny thing is Arnold Schwarzenegger wore it on his leg up until he cut that drivetrain on the pickup truck that was running the generator at the camp that they first blew up in the beginning. Mike Hauser says, if Doug had it, will Kyle? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. If Doug had it, it will kill. Yes, okay, I'm sorry. Yes, it will indeed. He not only had it, he designed it. It's a sweet little Genunting. V2, yes, but only in the West. Why, thank you, Father. He knows what I'm talking about. He knows where it's at. Yes, indeed. Dad, hashtag knife in the comments if you want this beautiful shielded knife all to yourself. Have a Knife Day says, good evening, Junkalos. I've got the Microtech MSI SE. Oh, that's awesome. That's a serrated edge. Tri-grip polymer. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I can guess. With laser engraved flag from last week's California Custom Knife Show. Very nice. I got to talk to a lot of makers. Good times. That's cool. Have a Knife Day. I have met Have a Knife Day in person. We've hung out. We hung out at Blade Show this past year, and if you get the chance, I highly recommend it. He's an awesome dude, and we had a great chat. And he's got an awesome knife collection and great taste in knives, and late night knife hosts also. Adrian Fighter 35 says, try scooping peanut butter with dark chocolate. Adrian, that's an amateur move, man. I've been doing that for years. No, I'm just kidding, but I do love that. Actually, what our thing is, meaning me and my wife, when it's late night and we can't believe that we're still up, the very salty and very crunchy Virginia style peanuts with dark chocolate, just alternate. But I love the peanut butter idea, actually. That one of my favorite two of my favorite foods, two great tastes that taste great together, you might say. Loot 10 text, good to have you here, Loot 10. Hey, what up, everyone? He says, well, it's good to have you here, man. Fist bump to you, sir. Jammin Parker says, love the big Work Tuff Gear blades. I have the cavias. I'm not sure about the cavias. The only thing I do know about it is that it's large and from Work Tuff, so it's awesome. They're coming out with the Lanzetta again. That's the big recurve Bowie, and I'm gonna have which big recurve Bowie? Well, it's the one that almost looks like a recurve Tonto in a sense, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get that Lanzetta. It's so cool. An American Father, good to have you here, American Father. Hello, friends. Hope everyone is safe and healthy. We are indeed safe and healthy, and it's good to have you here with us. And your big brain. I know you're a smart dude. I can tell from your comments. Have a Knife Day. But this is the crowd we're running in here. Have a Knife Day says, of course I have great taste in knives. I own one that you designed. Wink, wink. Well, wait. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the Nova 2? Oh, well, why don't I show it since I have it out? The Nova 2 made expertly by Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives with his handle and my blade. Again, two great tastes that taste great together. This is an awesome knife. And I'm not saying that because I had something to do with it. I'm saying it because Matt is just an incredible knife maker. I am about to commission a new Bowie from him, and I'll tell you more about it as we go here. But I'm very excited to get a Bowie knife from him. I do have this one that my mom and dad commissioned from him for my 50th birthday. And it was my design and his execution and their effort to get it made. And it is, of course, a Loveless style fighter, sub-hilt fighter. Dylan, how you doing? We got Dylan Mallory with us, ladies and gentlemen. Howdy, y'all, he says. I hope you're doing well. Well, I hope you're doing well too, Dylan. And man, I love everything you make. Every design you come out with is more beautiful than the last one. So good to have you here with us. I only have one from you though, and it's the Civivi. The I'll think of it in a second. That perfect Warncliffe with the what the hell is that called? You'll remind me, Dylan. You have to be here at least for one more comment. Remind me of the name of the Civivi that you designed. It's such a great one. I have a lot of Civivis, and I've been trying to kind of sell them or find something to do with them. But that one I'm holding on to because it's the only one I have by you, and it's so gorgeous. Loot 10 says, I love the channel, man. Oh, thank you for the kind words, sir. I always seem to miss your lives, though. Well, here you are. You found it, and we're here every Thursday. Sometimes we can't be here, but almost every Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you know what we've been doing, thanks to the generosity of Dave of OG Blade Reviews, who sends me awesome knives to give away. We do a lot of giveaways here. And then one very special knife giveaway on the third Thursday of every month. That's for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. That's our highest level of Patreon. But this is on offer tonight, thanks to Dave. Thank you so much, Dave. OG Blade Reviews. If you're not on his channel, which I'm sure you are, subscribe to him. Go check him out. He's outstanding. A great dude. Awesome insights into knives. Incredible skills with knives cultivated over years and years of training. And then also just the most killer collection. So do check him out. And do put #knife in the comments section, because I want you to win this knife. And that's all it takes. We're going to do a random number generator at about 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we will give this away. Timothy Chadwick, nice to have you here, Timothy. A good evening to all, he says. Earlier in the day, I ordered, I love that knife. I ordered Fred Perrin's Ladakh, and I was thinking of you the entire time, Bob. Timothy, what can I say? Hey, Jim, will you cut full frame to this knife cam for just a quick moment here? Because in honor of Timothy, I want to grab this and show off what he's talking about. Right here, I have the Ladakh by Fred Perrin. I have it on I have it set up as a neck knife because it's so light, and it's my favorite way to carry this knife. And I have this braided leather, what do you call it, necklace that my daughter made, and she's made me a number of these, and she's willing to make one for you for $5. But anyway, I have mine on this, and here's my Ladakh. I wrapped it with jute cord and then put some amber shellac on it and then burned it. And it's nice and stiff. Hey, Timothy, I'm so glad you got this knife. You will not be disappointed. It comes razor sharp. It's really awesome. And it's begging for some sort of handle treatment. I know that, who is it? Someone here has this, a regular here at Thursday Night Knives has this knife and has made it, made their own micarta handles. Who is it? Speak up. I know you're here tonight. I just can't remember who it is. But this is really awesome. So do check it out. 50? You look great, bro. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it. 53, sir. 53. 3 and 50, we say. When we're this old, we say 3 and 50. Or 4 score and, I don't know, 13 years? I don't know what the scores are. But anyway, yes, thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it, man. You know, you're a very accomplished young man. So coming from you, that means a lot. Thank you. Brandon Sutton, nice to have you here, Brandon. Hello, everyone, he says. Hey, Brandon, good to have you. What is that interesting creature in your avatar? I don't want to say it's creepy. Maybe the photograph is creepy. It could be your beloved pet, and I don't want to say anything bad about that. The Hadros. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. The Hadros. I love that knife. But I'm curious what that animal was. Is it a kind of an odd photograph of a beloved pet, or is it like a creepy photograph of something? I'm curious, and don't take offense if it's, we all have. I have Luna, the killer cat. So I mean, we all have our creepy pets. Pete Davidson, nice to have you here, Pete. Just got back from visiting grandchildren for a week, and every knife, tool, and gadget had a high drag, low speed grandpa needed in my tactical. I love it, man. I love it. Pete, I don't know why, but you're youthful to me. I guess that's what's going around. But and not that you can't be youthful and have and be a grandfather, but I love knowing that. It adds dimension. And now I know a little bit more about you, Pete. But I hope you had a wonderful time with your grandkids. I was about to say I can't wait to have grandkids, but I can wait. I just look forward to it, is what I mean. I don't need grandkids anytime soon, only because my daughters are too young for that. But I look forward to the day, and so I will live long enough to experience that. Definitely. Trent Costello says, "Thanks for the big blade. I feel like I sleep good now on my daily fix." Trent is frequently in my comments saying, "Why are you doing folders, man? You got so many good big blades." And I got to say, at first I was like, "Who is this Trent Costello?" And now I'm like, Trent, you and part of me are kindred spirits. And the only reason I say part is because I also love small folding knives too. But I really appreciate your love of the large knives. So keep coming back, because I'm not stopping. Jeremy Nedro says, YouTube doesn't tell me about the lives. I'm glad I made it to this one. Jeremy, I feel like I see you a lot here. But so we're here every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They don't tell you about it. I wonder why that is. Am I being I must be shadow banned. I'm so important, they're shadow banning me. I'm just kidding. But I have thought that in the past, where I'm like, why am I not growing as fast as I want to? And then Jim hits me with a shock of reality. He's like, well, you got to put out some videos, Bob. Well, but I'm being shadow banned, man. He's like, no, you're not. Mike Hauser says, the only thing better than Loveless is the Loveless with its sheath. Just awesome. Yeah, the sheath is beautiful. He does incredible leather work. Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives does. And this I call, it's kind of looks like a corset, Of course, it's rough and rugged, and it's tough brown leather, but it also looks kind of like a corset. So, it's kind of sexy too. I'm just going to put this right here. Pete Davidson says, I got by with my Midnight Mini Champ, 2 Band-Aids and a handful of moist towelettes. The Spyderco and Cold Steel didn't even see the light of day. Well, yeah, that's right. That's the best case scenario, that you don't need, because your Spyderco, you like the police model, right? So that's the big one. That's me. I knew it was you, but I bought it that way. Okay, Craig, I knew it was a very regular person. I just couldn't remember exactly who it was. And you have like white micarta scales on it, I think. But anyway, Pete, the big Cold Steels and the Pete Spyderco and the big Spydercos, hopefully, when you're seeing your grandkids, especially, they don't need to come out. You just need the Swiss Army knife to cut stuff and that kind of thing, and the Band-Aids, of course. Byron says, I stepped away. A global hi to all here if I missed you. Well, split and slices, Byron. It's good to have you, and I know everyone says a hearty hello. A score is 20 years. Okay. So I'm 2 scores and 13 years. That's what I'm going to start saying. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm going to start saying that. 2 scores and 13 years. How old are you, Bob? I'm young. I'm 2 score and 13 years. Bad Feather. Nice to have you here, sir. Hey, guys. Hey, Sword XXXY, who has not checked in yet, has the Bad Feather Knives Raider Creek EDC. I'm sorry, man, the name just slipped me. It's on its way. It's probably in Australian customs as we speak. So hopefully that sucker gets there soon. It's good to have you here with us. James says, A grab and go knife. Well, I always have 3 knives in my EDC bag. So for a grab and go knife, I will have to think on that. Yeah, me too. I pulled out a couple, but I mean, I have a lot. Something that to me I feel is always ready for anything is, and this is something I'll bring out. This is the DeMarco 8020, and definitely it's more of a bougie pick on my part because it's a big expensive knife. But I will just as easily grab a Voyager from Cold Steel for this. But I've noticed I carry this. I'll put this in my pocket when we have like a big snowstorm or some sort of weather event. And in my mind, before I leave, I'm thinking like I might have to cut my way out of my car or something. So I better have something super stout with me. But this is definitely a big one. I'm a 44-year-old poppy. I'm glad I am young enough to be able to chase after and connect with my grandchildren. How cool, Pete. That's awesome. They always want to pop. They always want Pop to pull up some crazy knife or gadget. Pete, you're living the life, my man. I admire you. A young grandfather. That's a nice way to go because, like you said, you can still. At 44, you're a babe in arms, my man. You can still throw them around and you can probably beat them in a foot race and all that. It's nice probably to have grandchildren before your knees become unstrung, as the Greeks would say. That's cool, man. Jeremy Hart says, James. I'm mixing you with Jeremy Nedrow. Sorry. James Hart says, I have a new knife. Ooh, the Condor Knife and Tool Kephart. Ooh, I like Kephart style knives. It's okay. I just do not understand the hype. Oh, okay. Is it the hype of this particular knife or Condor Knife and Tool? It was a Condor Knife and Tool knife that took the feeling from the tip of my thumb. So I have mixed feelings about Condor Knife and Tool. Oh my God, Edgy American Blades. We have Shane with us. $5. Thank you, sir. Bob, I've decided I'm going to make a proper clip point blade for you and give it away on Thursday Night Knives. Oh, dude, I would love that. One thing you have to promise me, and that's that you come on during that giveaway and help me give it away. And you do the countdown. That is awesome. Proper clip point. I love it. Shane has been working on something for me, and I'm excited to see it when it's ready. No stress. I know you've got a lot of anxious customers. Shane started making knives like a year ago, or maybe even less, and he's doing gangbusters business, and his skills. I mean, I can just tell from the pictures on a daily basis. His stuff is becoming so refined that I think you call it a thug. I'm not sure what you call it, or it's not ruffian. Remind me, but that really cool, we'll call it a modified sheep's foot, or perhaps Warncliffe, that you posted without the scales on it looks so nice. Even all the relief holes you drilled in it, everything looks so perfect on that knife. It's not a thug. What's it called? Is it I don't know. Well, let me give you a salute. And since it's a proper clip point blade you're talking about, I'll show you a proper clip point blade right here. One of many, of course. They come in all different variations, but this is the Natchez Bowie, a Musso style Bowie. And this one has a nice curve, kind of a continuous belly to it, and then a zero ground swedge, which, you know, I am a huge fan of a sharpened or zero ground swedge. Even the dullest of swedges can do a lot of damage with a back cut flick. That's one of these things. You know, when you're in a Bowie knife fight and you do this, bang, slow motion, or you could do it from an angle one strike, and then at the very last second, you flip your wrist over and it's kind of out of your view, and then bang, what is that big hole in my clavicle? Well, that's coming from that tip digging in and gouging, and you don't need to have a sharpened clip to make that happen. As a matter of fact, you don't need a clip point to make that happen. You do need some sort of can't do it with a Warncliffe, let's put it that way. You do need some sort of upsweep, but I love clip point blades. So Shane, I really appreciate that, and I can't wait. And you will come on. Maybe we can do it for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. Maybe not February. I mean, we can if it'll be ready in a couple of weeks, but we can aim for March, and that can go to a lucky gentleman junkie. But this, sir, is for you. I thank you so much. I cannot wait, and I thank you for that super chat. Here's your slow motion drive by, or shark swim by, I guess. Oh yeah. Is there anything greater than a Bowie knife? And by the way, if you square up with someone and they hold their Bowie knife like this, you're in real trouble because they know what they're doing. I used to think, oh, that guy doesn't even have his knife the right way, in that scene in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Well, that's not true. They really knew what they were talking about, or they knew what they were doing. That director knew what they were doing when they directed that scene, because that guy was fighting in the mountain man style of fighting, where you have the clip facing forward and the large edge facing back. And you do your hacking to the hand or whatever with the clip, and then you thrust and do the old heave ho with the main blade, and that guy's insides are now outsides. An American Fighter says, grab and go is my Spyderco Stretch 2XL. I love that knife. I don't have one, but I've admired it from afar. I really like what they did with that. The Stretch I always thought was cool, but too small, and that 2XL, although I always have a big knife somewhere near me just in case. Well, that 2XL is a pretty big folder. That's almost a 4-inch knife. Pardon me. The Salt Lakers. Nice to have you here, Salt. Flamethrowers are legal for anyone of any age in any state. FYI. I love it. I love knowing that, Salt Lake. Is there any range issue? I mean, can it be a flamethrower, like an honest to goodness, clear out that salt box flamethrower, or does it is it one of the Elon Musk flamethrowers that only go so far? Let me know. Bad Feather Knives. Bad Feather Knives. Thanks for doing that long ship, Bob. Hey, I do it. Hey, I do it for my patrons. It's the least I could do. Yeah. Trent Costello. Well, now also there's a Raider EDC. There will be a Raider Creek EDC on the opposite side of the earth, which is always cool to know. Trent Costello says, guess I need a neck knife to give Junior Knife Junkie some business. Always kind of want Izula too. And Izula too. I know the Izula. I'm not sure if I know, but in any case, all of those knives are cool, even before they were Essies, when they were still Ontario Knife and Tool. They're awesome. James Hart says, it's the Kephart knife. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos hyping how good it is, but it's just a knife. I hear you. The Kephart has a compelling style blade, though. I really like the, wait, no, I'm thinking of the Nessmuk. Okay, the Kephart. Yeah, Kephart. Kepharts can be, okay. The one that I've really liked is, I like the Kephart. It's called the Razorback, I think, from Off Grid Knives. That's a nice Kephart. And then the one that Essie put out was pretty good looking. I'd be glad to join, says Shane. So keep your eyes peeled. Shane will be helping give away the clip point knife he will be making to give away to one of you awesome fellas sometime here, either this month or next month. So check it out. Speaking of clip points, I happen to have this out on the table. Dwayne Letterman, nice to have you here, Dwayne. Evening, Bob and Jim, he says. Yes, the Thug is my current model. Okay, I couldn't remember if I had the name right, but I knew like the feel of what it was, and it is beautiful. It really looks nice. If you guys don't follow Edgy American Blades on Instagram, definitely do yourself a favor and check it out. And not for nothing, he's also on YouTube and does these great lives where you can just join him while he's making a knife. It's hypnotic. It's very cool. Plus, you'll turn it off and say, man, I need to start making knives. And whether you start making knives or not, you will be a little bit more creative after you watch one of those lives. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I was under the knife on Tuesday. Heart surgery. Craig Vincent. Man, you are stout of heart. And I don't even mean that as a pun. Thank you for being here tonight. My only concern was the doctor's knife wasn't as sharp as my own. You're like, hey, can you use this, doc? By the way, if it had gone the other way, you'd be giving a lot more giveaways. It was written. If it had gone the other way, you'd be giving a lot more giveaways. It was written. Hey, man, I'm so glad that you're here with us tonight and on the mend. Presumably, you're on the mend because you're here. If you weren't, you'd be not probably bothering with this. So, man alive. And thank God for Western medicine. I got to say, herbs are great and love tea and all that. Yeah, give me a rub down anytime. But I will take good old open heart surgery when there's a problem with the ticker. Thank God for Western medicine. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, Bob and Junkies, he says. Well, good evening to you, sir. Always a pleasure. That's a good-looking Bowie, he says. This one? I'm surprised. Maybe, are you talking about this one in my hand right now? Because I know you're not a big fan of the upswept Bowie knives. But I agree with you. It is awesome. This is the Auxiliary Manufacturing Pocket Bowie XL. Michael Jarvis. No, he's not, says Jim. All right, it's not this one. Then I think you're talking about the big... Thank you, Jim. I think you're talking about the Musso I had out before that I saluted you with. That is a good-looking Bowie, the Natchez. We have Mike from Northern Knives. Good to have you here, Mike. What did it say? I missed it. Wasn't fast enough. Hey, y'all. How are you, Jim, Bob, and Junkies? Well, we are good, man. Good to have you with us. Ron Crow says, Knife Junkie Loot 10 Tex is the chief knife designer and bottle washer of New Breed EDC, the designer of the Kubi Decimal, among others. Okay, wait. Oh, okay. Loot 10 Tex. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. And bottle washer. I'm not sure what that means, but I got to check out New Breed EDC. All right. I'm not sure I know New Breed EDC. Let me grab half of my pens. Look at this. I was about to use this, but it's actually a G10 stabber so I won't be using that. New Breed EDC. Well, it's great to have you with us then. All right. I have it written down. I got to check it out. Now that's a NAF, says Ed. Ed, good to have you here. Yes, indeed, that is a NAF. Drew Dude, good to have you here, Drew Dude. It doesn't matter how someone holds a Bowie. If they're holding one, I'm running. Exactly. That's a good policy. As a matter of fact, when I had Brian Kanata on, he was talking about how everything you can do with almost everything you can do with a Bowie, you can do with your regular kitchen chef's knife. The back cut, maybe not as much if you have a drop point kitchen knife, but really kitchen knives and Bowie knives, they're kind of all swimming in the same water. Oh, drink water. Nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, he says. Well, good evening to you, man. Bad Feather Knives. I will not be exhibiting in Atlanta this year's show, Loot 10 Tex. I hope to next year. Yeah, would definitely, Mr. Voorhees, we'd love to have you there. We'd love to have you. Like I'm running it. I'd love to see you there and shake your hand is kind of what I meant. Pete Davidson says, I would move to your state just to EDC a flamethrower. I wonder if I could get one with a bayonet mount. You know what I mean? Because when you run out of gas. Donald Fry, nice to have you here, Donald. Howdy, everyone. Late to the party tonight. That's all right. Fashionably late. Donald Fry is our fashion maven. Apparently, technically, fashionably late is 8 minutes, according to the old school. Like the old school, what was her name? That woman that you could find out etiquette from in the newspaper. Jay, you're like, newspaper? What's that? Jeremy Nedro, prayers to a speedy recovery, Craig Vincent. Absolutely, Craig. And Jeremy, thank you for mentioning that. Absolutely. Prayers to a speedy recovery. Swift and complete. Big Tank ATX. Sexy Blade, I've been carrying my new Steve Ryan Rhino. Oh, dude. Okay, I love Steve Ryan. Steve Ryan's knives. And I don't have any of them, but I admire all of his knives because I follow him. And he's been on the show once before, but the Rhino is nasty. He does a big S-curve blade that's beautiful. Lately, he's been doing these big Persians that are gorgeous. Yeah, nice choice. And dare say, a deep cut. So much appreciated. Jesse says, word. Well, word to you, sir. Edgy American, I will be selling knives out of a backpack at Blade Show like a proper pirate. That's nice. You just have to have one of those flags that sticks out of your backpack that says, I've got knives for sale. Yeah, means he designs knives and everything else. Okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you gotta like, I don't know if they still do this, but I remember at gun shows from a while ago, I haven't been to a gun show in years and years, but a guy's walking around with guns over their shoulders and then like a little flag sticking out of the barrel for sale. Alex Busta, nice to have you here, Alex. Good evening, Bob, and everyone in the chat. Good to have you here, sir, with that very nice Toyota pickup truck. My girls are trying to get me to get a pickup truck, and I'm not fighting it. I just have to wait till the car I have now is completely dead because I own it outright, and there's nothing like not having a car payment. Craig says, Lute is an awesome designer. Oh, Clydesdale and Gavel, to name a few that I've owned. Let me just, sorry, I know this is kind of antisocial, but I got to write stuff down, all right? By the way, I'm using this awesome, who makes this? Twisby. It's a Twisby fountain pen. It's so cool. It's so robust. You can throw it in your pocket. It doesn't leak everywhere. And I like to write with nice pens. Yes, thank you, Jim, for the reminder. In about 20 minutes or so, give or take, we're going to be giving away this Shieldin knife kite. Let me put it under the knife cam. It is G10. It is 154 cm. Very nice blade, by the way. Very slicey, tall, flat grind. Got a full, a crossbar lock on there that really works great. You can switch that deep carry pocket clip with the flush screws so it doesn't menace your pants pocket to either side. You can see how light it is by how many relief holes are drilled into those liners there. This thing is awesome. This was sent to me by Shieldin, and I do appreciate it. I try to give away a lot of knives that are sent to me. And what's shocking to me is that we have 70 people watching and only 28 people want this knife. If you haven't put #knife in the comment section, do so right now. I highly recommend it because who knows, you could win this knife. And if you do, you could keep it, or if it doesn't float your boat, you could give it away to that guy at work who's knife junkie adjacent and just needs a nudge. Or you could give it away to your nephew who's just coming of age and needs a proper knife. Or you could sell it and make thousands of dollars. So do it. Put #knife in the comments below. Your name will go on the wheel. Actually, it's not a wheel when we do this, but it'll go into the random number generator, and we will pick you and you will win. But you cannot win if you don't play. So please put your name, #knife. Not your name, just put #knife in the comments. And in about 20 minutes, we will find out if you won. Put this sucker away. Man, I've been bloviating back and forth. So now I think it's time for a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
Now, usually I open this by flicking something open, but in my front right pocket today, I had the very, very awesome VSK1 from Armis Knife and Tool. I just interviewed Michael Grosso of Armis Knife and Tool last night. He will be our Sunday interview this week, and what an awesome dude. Really cool guy, and he was a great interview and a great story. You know, his whole origin story for becoming a knife maker. And I got to say, this knife is awesome. He sent me this knife and a couple of other things that I'll show you in a minute. Sorry, I just knocked into my tripod there. You're like, it's not a tripod if it's wiggling. You're right, it's not a tripod. But anyway, this is AEBL, very sharp, made in his shop. Everything is made in his shop. And he does now have these water jetted, at least the blanks, but he does everything else. and just a stupendous knife. It feels great in hand. I on and off bitch about these sort of two-finger partitions. On this knife, it just feels great. I've mentioned that every time I've pulled this thing out. And whether it's in reverse grip, which it's kind of intended for, given that big thumb rest, or Pikal, with the edge in, or just regular standard, it works great, feels great in hand, is extremely sharp. And the sheath is excellent. The sheath is outstanding. It is an ambidextrous sheath, very much in the spirit of offensive industries, sheaths, and other like style sheaths. It's got that DCC clip on it. And this is a very comfortable in-pocket carry. And I thought it would only be comfortable in my jeans, but I love it both ways. Both ways meaning in a horizontal pocket or a vertical pocket, like on khakis or dress pants. Kilkenny, nice to have you here. Late to the party, was sharpening in the garage. Good evening, all. That's awesome, man. I love it. I love it. I love when people are sharpening while this show is going on, even if you weren't here with us. LOL, Knife Junkie adjacent. Yeah, he went KJA. That's right. Exactly. So great, a very comfortable sheath, and also a soft landing with that soft Velcro part right there. Roman, good to have you here, Roman M. Hey, guys, he says. Hello to you, sir. So that was my front right pocket carry. Edgy American, my grab and go folder is typically a Super Steel Spyderco Manix 2. Oh, man. You gave me one of your Super Steel Manix 2s about a year and some change ago. Shane gave me a beautiful lightweight Manix 2 with S110V. And I mean, I will never have to sharpen that because A, I'm not a hard user, and B, that steel, and C, that edge he put on it. So nice. Donald Fry, the etiquette lady was Emily Post. Thank you. She would say proper placement of your bowie is on your right side of the plate, edge towards the plate. Got to have manners. That's right. Edge towards the plate. I've taught my ladies how to set a table, my daughters how to set the table. And I'm always like, edge in, girls, edge in. And so the same is with the bowie. That's right. All right. In my back left pocket today, I had the super amazing and awesome. All right. Enough, Bob. I had the really, really compelling and beautiful DC Blades Vendetta. Perfect name for this luxury Pikal style folder. Also has that thumb rest on the top. Also meant for reverse grip. And look at that beautiful M390 Hawkbill blade. You've got a swale with jimping in it right up here. You have a wave type opener that you can remove if you're a rabbit-hearted fool, but otherwise you will leave that there because when you pull it out of your pocket, whoosh, it opens up and you've got it ready to go in reverse grip. Beautiful sculpted titanium pocket clip and this aluminum foil carbon fiber. This is just gorgeous. So this is a DC Blades knife, and DC Blades is the brainchild of Justin from Tier 1 Gear Reviews and Old Squirrel Knives, and they've been just killing it, knocking it out of the park with their designs. And I was going to show it off with the other two, and man, like an idiot, I put one back over here and one's up on my dresser. But they have two. They have the scythe made by Shieldon, the Shieldon scythe. That is a folding Pikal. That was their first one. And then they have the Rev, which is a three-way collaboration with Shieldon Knives and Auxiliary Manufacturing and them. And this one is their latest. And oh man, I'm so thrilled to have this. Haven't gotten it out of my pocket since I've gotten it about a week ago. I've done a couple of shorts, and this weekend I'll be doing my long-form close-up video of it, so you can see it in the bright light under the camera close-up and imagine that it's yours and move you to get it to be yours. All you got to do is go to dcblades.net, ladies and gentlemen. But so gorgeous. Just look at it. It's a beauty. Also in my pocket today, I had the Big Bro Jack, the most recent Big Bro Jack. I guess I would say the second release of this knife from Jack Wolf Knives. This one is the first Jack Wolf Knives knife with a bone covered handle. Love this white bone. It's so nicely done. This time he extended the bolsters to about a third, making it a Barlow style sleeve board jack here. Triple fluted bolsters, polished with the blue anodized hardware, and the horizontal hand rub satin with the long pulls. This thing is just gorgeous. Giant sharpening clip. You could sharpen this for centuries with it being S90V, and it'll still be nice and sharp all the way up to the top of that sharpening choil. So beautiful. I had this in pocket because coming soon to me, and I know others have gotten theirs already, but I live in a place where the mail comes slowly, and there is a folding locking version of this sucker coming out, and I can't wait. It's called the Primo Jack. Primo being Spanish for cousin. This is Big Bro. Its brother is the Little Bro, and so now the Primo is the cousin, and I'm very much looking forward to having that. Mango Badger, nice to have you here, Mango. What's that? WFH today on my serrated Voyager XL Vaquero. Very, very nice. Oh, work from home. Thank you, Jim. Work from home today, so my serrated Voyager XL Vaquero went in my pocket because why not? Exactly, Mango Badger. I love that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of knife I have. Let's see, what do I have in my... Yeah, I was going to say, that's the kind of knife I have in my pocket when I'm just hanging out at home. And here's my big old Espada large. And yeah, why not just have it in the pocket when you're at home? I mean, this one you can carry this to work if you're working from the office in a pair of jeans. It's not so thick, but the Voyagers get a little thick. They're a little easy to see. I mean, to me, this is my Voyager Chris. Love this thing. This has been in my bag for a few days, and I kind of forgot about it until right before the show, so pulled it out. All right, my ESK today, my emotional support knife, was the beautiful Work Tuff Gear Steadfast by Calvin Richardson. Such a beautiful knife. Designed by custom knife maker Calvin Richardson. I am a huge fan of this long clip point blade. I'm just going to hold it here so you can look at it. It's so gorgeous. And check out that relief edge. I mean, that is it is unbearably sharp. It is ridiculously sharp. And this one is a little thinner. It has a thinner geometry behind the edge. And I'm not sure if that's because they made the blade thinner or the grind a little more svelte, or if it's because the actual cutting edge is so high. But this thing is ridiculously sharp. I did one of those choir boys cutlery style videos where he accordions a piece of paper and then just slices down. I did one of those, and this worked amazingly. I love it. Yes, that's all I've really used it for. One of these days, I will actually take it out and do something with it outside. But you know, like, I feel like it's more of a fighter than anything else. It's a great field knife. I know that's what it's intended to be. It's a knife that flexes from camp to combat and all that. But when I look at it, I see something stabby and menacing. And then I also look at that downward raked edge. Like, that is going to be amazing in a slashing scenario or a deep cutting scenario. So, and a thrust. I mean, look at the swedge on this. This is, to me, a combat knife. This is a fighting knife. But I don't think necessarily that's how it's supposed to be exclusively. It would just excel at that. But then again, so would most of your Mora knives, especially the companion. So I guess it's all the lens we're looking through, isn't it? All right, that's what I had on me today. What were you guys carrying? Let me know. Put this away. Now, the one thing about this is the sheath. The giant taco sheaths from Work Tuff Gear sometimes leave me a little cold because it's so much real estate, and you really, it's like the retention is too much almost. But Yeah, I know. First world problems. I get it. 5-door grab and go is the Umnumzan pockets today. Oh, that's right. That's what it was. 5-door got a Stang Bladeworks Pyrenees, which is so beautiful. I've been following him for a little while. I don't know, a year or so, and that knife is just it looks perfect. Uh, and it seems like 5-door just kind of just gets all the cool. I don't want to say obscure knives, but sort of off the beaten path or up and coming kind of knives, and that's definitely one of them. Stang Blade Works. That knife is gorgeous. Hats off to you, sir. Jeremy Nedro, Manix 2 is my favorite folder. Well, that's funny, Jeremy, because Shane and I were kind of going back and forth. What's better, the Shaman or the Manix? And I had a Manix years ago, a Manix 2XL, but I'd never had a Shaman. And then he sent me that Manix lightweight, and yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I love the lock too. An American Father says, just curious, anyone here carry a spike in your EDC? Now, I don't carry it regularly, but I have this spike, and it's so awesome. This is the Dick Pick from Wingard Wearables, and he sent me this, and he sent me a small one. Jim has the small one, and I would dare say that the small one, the mini Dick Pick, is a great pocket carry. It's like this, but smaller, and the whole thing fits in your pocket really easily. This is also pretty awesome. This is a great kind of dog walking implement. You could dispatch anything that steps to you while you're walking the dog. If your dog doesn't take care of it first, of course. But I love this thing. I'm curious who else carries a spike and why. Now, Jim, our magician behind the switcher, the producer of this show, has a big ice pick collection. He might be behind the scenes, but he's pretty badass. And that ice pick collection, I love that, especially being having some Sicilian blood and some I'm all Italian and a quarter Sicilian, so that means ice picks. Well, they're not unfamiliar. Let's put it that way. Adrian Fighter says, pocket check, Cold Steel Raja 2 and the Mini Tac Tanto serrated neck carry. I love those Mini Tacs. I don't have the Tanto. I have the Bowie. I have the Skinner that Dave sent me, which is awesome. The Kiradashi. And I think I have one more, but those are great. The handles, the little sub-hilt handles are awesome on those things. Speaking of Dave, OG Blade Review says, today's carry, the North Mountain Kickstop Chop Plus, that's a beauty. He posted a couple of IGs on that today. The Arcane Design Abyss, the Armis VSK1 rock pattern in G10. Thank you for introducing me to this knife, Dave. Like I said in my intro, you are truly a knife maven. And the term maven, if you're not familiar with it, is someone who introduces the masses to things. Like a music maven is your friend who's like, hey man, you ever hear of Jane's Addiction? And you're like, what's Jane's Addiction? And then you hear it and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Well, that's Dave, but with knives. The Artisan Accelerator Tie Frag S90V, awesome knife. The Drop Gavco Thresher, nice. I had the squared off version. I sold that. That's another one I regret getting rid of. And the Light Warrior Mini 3. God, Dave, every time with your pocket checks, he's got an enviable collection. Loot 10. I carried the Wee Esprit, the Boker Connector, and the Boker Atlas. Trying to think of what those two Bokers are, but I love Boker. They don't get enough love, I think, because there's my Grail knife, my Grail folder. One of 3 Grail folders, I'll say, is the anything from Charles Marlowe, but especially the Squale or Squall, if it's a custom Marlowe. And Boker makes the Squale, and there's no way on earth I would have a Boker. No way on earth I would have a Charles Marlowe knife if it weren't for Boker. And same thing with a couple of others, like the F3. the Vox F3 and others. They have just some awesome knives, and I feel like 10 to 12 years ago they were getting a bad rap because I think a couple of things left the factory that weren't up to snuff. But everything I've ever had from them are awesome. And what's the Wee Esprit? Is that a biggie? Is that a big one? The Esprit? Not sure. I can't remember. I know we covered that on a midweek supplemental. James Hart says, okay, for my grab and go knife, since I have 2 knives and a multi-tool in my EDC bag, I will drop the Raja 2 XL in my pocket. Very nice. Yeah, like in a way, I don't count the knives that are kind of permanent that serve residency in your EDC bag. Like I always have the SOG Seal Pup in my bag. I always have the Cold Steel Fin Wolf, the folding Scandi ground blade, and then whatever is rattling around, and then whatever my ESK is, if it's a fixed blade is usually in there. I kind of don't count those. Those are going to be with you because you're going to grab that bag. So luckily, in this grab and go scenario, you get a bunch of knives. But what's the one you're putting in your pocket? So I'll say the Raja 2. That's yours. I like it. Today's carry, Alex, a man of fine taste. The Bastinelli Big Dragotac and the Microtech SOCOM Bravo DLC. Very, very nice. I have a SOCOM Elite automatic right here. This one, I also got this from Dave. Northern Knives says, today's carry is a Hinderer XM18 Warncliffe. I love their Warncliffes. The Microtech MSI, a tactile turn bolt action tie pen. I need to get one. Need to. It's a moral imperative. An Ameritac Tie Rev 5 mini flashlight. Oh, and my Kansas City Chiefs Zippo. Oh, okay, I see. It's like that, is it? Not that I have any dog in the fight, but I will definitely be rooting for the Eagles. And I'm not a huge football fan at all, to say the least, but I lived in Philly for some formative years of my life. And in this case, I must root for them. Donald Bless, nice to have you here with us, sir. Bless Knives. Good evening, Knife Junkie and all. I can't hear movie night with mom. Just wanted to say hi. How cool. Say hi to your mom. I love that you have movie night with her. What are you watching? And then get back to it. But let us know what you're watching. I'm curious. That is awesome. Yeah. I wish I were closer to my mom and my dad, but my dad was watching tonight. I'm sure at this point he's watching like this. And I totally respect that because that's how I'd be watching. Roman M says, carried a Warncliffe full track. Oh, I like that. Yes. It's like a Kiridashi almost. And American Blade Works slip. I love their slip joint too. But the full track Warney has that upward slanted straight edge, which to me is more like a Kiridashi, and I love Kiridashis. Either way, whatever you call it, it's awesome. Jammin Parker, today's carry, the Agent 001 and the Spyderco Dragonfly. I can't let this go without showing off what he's talking about. He's carrying this very knife. Well, not this very knife, but this model. And I know he happens to have the double-edged version, which most of you who have this have, actually. But what a great knife. And I'm saying that sort of tooting my own horn, but it could be a terrible knife if it weren't Tim who, A, made it, and B, made the handle that I designed like 100 times better than my design. So he did such an amazing job. Tim Kell is such an awesome dude. If you don't know him or go to his lives, you should. They're on Sunday mornings. He is such a great dude. And not for nothing, he's an amazing knife maker and designer, great business owner. He seems like a great father also, and husband, and the whole thing. He's a family man. It's a family-run business. And yeah, T-Kel Knives all the way. Love them. James Hart says, I kind of feel on the low end of the knife community since I don't have any customs or high-end knives. Most of the knives I see here, I don't know of. No. James, it's not that. It's not that at all. Because with with time and interest more than anything else, those kind of knives come in. If you find yourself doom scrolling on Instagram, looking at knives all the time, then you start to get to know these things. But I have a feeling you've got a life. So don't even say that. You have, you know, your love of knives is your love of knives. And if you have any interest in any of the weird stuff we show here, the stuff you don't know of, uh, it's all there for the taking. But it's funny you should say that, because half the time people will say stuff like, oh well, actually, this I know of, and I'll get to this in a second. But yeah, not at all, man. You're not on the low end of anything. Um, your knife taste or your knife taste, and the only thing you have to know is there's a lot more out there, and it's an endless well that you can go back to. So if you're ever bored with current knife designs or the things all you got to do is look on Instagram, and that thing is a magic box of new knives all the time. Ryan Lynch, you sharp devil, it's a pleasure to have you here, sir. The Terzuola OG ATCF carbon fiber today by Fox. Oh my God, I love the ATCF, and that there are no Terzuolas in my collection, save for the Civivi Tomashi E. Is an absolute shame. The ATCF is by far the knife I would want from him. Or from any of the places like Fox or ProTech, who make a version of it. Yes. Here's I've seen Bob Terzuola's ATCF in Stag. Oh my God, it's so beautiful, with sort of a bronzed bolster, titanium bolster, and then the whole profile of that knife is just perfection. Autumn Wind, the J Cape and the Feel Good Jack. The J Cape is a nice knife. I had, let's see, I had that on loan from Hero Sticks. He loaned me that. That J Cape feels incredible in hand. I mean, outrageously good in hand. And that's one of those knives that kind of forces your hand into a certain position. But man alive, does that feel great. Craig Vincent, I was almost close to my mom and dad this week. Oh, Craig. Well, I'm glad we have you close to us for a little while longer before you are close to them. But either way, it's going to be good, because we love you, and I know they love you. So. But thank God that your surgery went well, and we still get you for some more time. Scotch and Things, a pleasure to have you here, Scotch and Things. Sup, gang? Sup with you? Sitting in a hotel. Okay. Wait, first of all, heater. Okay. MOW and HH Valley this trip. HH, you're going to have to let me know what HH is. Heater Knives. I know that is that is a what's the word? A divisive, is that the right word? I know some people think heater knives are like terrible, and other people think they're amazing, but they are very polarizing designs. That's what I mean. So hats off to you. And then, where are you? No, you don't have to tell us where you are. Are you enjoying your hotel experience? Is this for a good reason? Anyway, it's nice to have you with us in your hotel room. Make sure you double lock the door, and yeah, just make sure you double lock the door. Hotels can be sketchy sometimes. Lou 10 says there are great knives in all price ranges. Absolutely. And here's one of them right here. We should give this away. I said we were going to give this away. How many people, Jim, do we have with #knife? I think you should all have #knife in the comments. If not, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm just kidding. You shouldn't. You shouldn't be. But I want to give this to you. Don't you get it? I want you to have this knife. So put #knife in the comments, and I will send it to you once you win. But you can't win if you don't play, as they say. 83 watching, 48 entries. All right. I think it's time. So for those 48, or let's see, for the other 30 some odd. Oh God, I hope my dad is asleep. He'd be ashamed of my math skills. Please, you have about 30 seconds to put hashtag knife in the comments before we give this away. This beautiful Shieldin knives, kite in very nice stonewash 154 cm with the high flat grind, super slicey, extremely sharp, G10, excellent crossbar lock, and a very doable, even with the left hand front flipper. Look at that knife. That's a particularly nice angle. And then you've got the flush screwed deep carry pocket clip, both sides. It's a winner. Also comes with this strange pocket thing. I say strange because most people don't carry their pocket knives in these, but you could put your Leatherman in here. You could put your old Buck 110 in here, whatever you want. I'm betting you're not going to put your kite in there. All right, let's do this, Jim. Let's bring it up. I'm going to take a sip of this here coffee. I might regret that I'm drinking coffee so late. I've kind of gotten out of the habit because lately I haven't been able to just drink coffee and fall asleep like normal. So we'll see. I'll suffer at work tomorrow. All right, Jim, let's do this in 3, 2, and 1. All right, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Let's see. It's a free knife, a free awesome knife with one of my favorite blade steels, 154 cm. Hero Sticks. Speak of the devil, speak von der Teufel. Hero Sticks. I was just talking about you when I was talking about that knife. Anyway, Hero Sticks. It's awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you're winning this. Hero has hooked me up by sending me a bunch of knives in the past. Also, Steve, it's great to have you with us. I saw your name in there. But Hero, it's great. I'm glad to be sending this to you. He's sent me so many cool knives to check out over the years. And so this is yours, my man. But you will have to send me an accurate address, a new address. I know you moved at one point and I sent a box to you and it went to the wrong place. So Hero Sticks, please email me at TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com and tell me where you want me to send this. And I will send it post haste, sir. Also, Dave, Dave of OG Blade Reviews, I've got something to send you. Dirk Pinkerton has something that I've had for way too long. He wants me to send it along to you. So I'll be mailing that to you tomorrow as well. Paul Mills says, I like the Feel Good Jack. Which one is the Feel Good Jack? Yes, the doctor's knife. Yeah. If I was going to buy a Jack Wolf slip joint for myself, it would be the Feel Good Jack. Oh, very nice. That is awesome. I mean, I love them all. I guess if I were to buy a Jack Wolf Knives slip joint, if I could only get one, I would get the Venom Jack. That thing is awesome. It's a very broad Warncliffe with a trapper style handle. It is. I really wish, or I hope he makes a locking, flipping version of that because it is so flipping good. James Hart says, I just got the Kephart knife, that Condor knife and tool put out since there is so much hype about the Kephart knives, but I just can't see it. It's just a spear point knife. I know I've felt that in the past, and then I'm like, maybe this is a bushcrafter thing. Like in Goodfellas, it's real Sicilian stuff. It's among the Sicilian guys. Well, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's just among the real bushcraft guys but I have a feeling you're kind of a bushcraft guy. I know you're a cyclist, but I know you're an outdoorsman. So I don't know. Jacob Green, nice to have you here, sir. Just got back from Krav Maga, twisting wrists and poking eyes. Good for you, man. I love Krav Maga. I did a little bit of Krav Maga, a couple of years with my wife when we first moved here, and I love it. Not only is it awesome and very useful, but if you've done other things and if you do things after it, it's all not all the same, but they've got a great way of thinking about it. It's not just great techniques, but it's a great way of putting it together. My go-to knife is the Victorinox Ranger Grip. The Ranger Grip 79 and the 4-inch saw make it perfect for gardening and bushcraft. The 4-inch saw. Is that like a little folding saw by who's that company? I have one of the, oh, Silky. Is that like a little Silky saw? Anyway, Jacob, never give up the Krav Maga, or if you do, don't forget it and teach your kids how to do it too. That's good stuff. Ron Dobbins, nice to have you here, Ron. What's up, everyone? Well, we're just here waxing poetic about knives. It's been a while since I pulled something out to show, so let me pull something out to show. Let me just to keep the eye candy going. This thing, Hero Sticks, Evening and Cheers all. Glad you enjoyed checking out the J Cape. That's what it was. Thank you, the J Cape. Hero, you won. So your kite is coming to you. So be sure to send me your address, please. TheKnifeJunkie.com at Gmail. Knife Company. I'm sorry. TheKnifeJunkie at gmail.com. Talking too much. Matthew, nice to have you here, Matthew. Good evening, everyone. Fantastic show. Thank you, man. Thank you for those kind words. It definitely puts wind in the old sails. Red Astrachan. Nice show, Bob. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Red. Or presumably, but is it Astrachan? It must be. It's good to have you here. What do you think, Red, of this here? This is the SOG Super Bowie. I got this at least 20 years ago. Oh, I've always loved the no flipping way. Thanks, everybody. Super excited. Hero, you'll love the knife. It's awesome. I got this after, well, I got this in, I remember I was working at a fashion company in New York City, and we covered the fashion industry. It was, they sent producers all over the world, not me, all the female producers to the fashion shows, and I just edited the stuff. But I remember this showed up to my workplace, and I was like, check this out. And everyone's like, oh my God. And that was fun. But I love this knife. Ever since Terminator 2. Oh, no, ever since, what was that one? The one where the Vietnam vets go back to get their buddies out of the POW camps. James Moore, nice to have you here, sir. Hi, Bob. I have a few grab-and-go knives. It's good to have you here, James. Always a pleasure. The Gareth Bull Productions Zyro, made by Riat. I'm not sure about what that is, but I know I like Gareth Bull's, especially his Mura. That is a beautiful knife. And made by Riat. You won me there. 3-inch front flipper with nice carbon fiber. Good for my usual work and light use home needs. Small enough not to scare many. Gotcha. Not to scare many. You can never vouch for all of them, but some things are undeniably beautiful, and I would say Gareth Bull knives fall in that category. An American Father says, good night, brothers. Stay aware. Hope to see one of you here next Thursday Night Knives. Every one of you here, sorry. American Father, thank you, man. It's always nice to have you here with us, adding your voice to this conversation. Yes, Uncommon Valor. Thank you. Thank you. Uncommon Valor. Just put it in the back, scramble the brain. Yeah, that's where I first saw this, the MacV SOG Bowie. And then in Terminator 2, when she idiotically leaves it stabbed in the picnic table before she goes off to kill what's his name, and leaves this stuck in there. I'm like, what is she doing? She's leaving her knife. Ron Dobbins says, I am carrying mini Old Guard in titanium scales. What a beautiful knife. I am a huge fan of his designs. All of them, they're so clean and gorgeous. And a Pena Mula in red carbon fiber and titanium pry bar key set. Very nice. The Mula, which one is the Mula? I'm trying to remember. Ray Laconico, by the way, is when I said his designs. I love Ray Laconico's designs, but I also love Pena's designs. And I can't remember exactly what the Mula is. But anyway, I know that that's a nice carry combo. James Hart says, nope, I'm not even sure what the term bushcraft means. I'm a hiker, camping, and long-distance bike rider. Oh, and I love fishing. Yeah, so you're a bushcrafter, basically. Bushcraft is a fancy way of saying, like, you know how to make a feather stick, and you know how to build a shelter if you need to, and, you know, you're a camper. Yeah, bushcraft just refers to the stuff you do in the bush to survive with your knife, basically. Pete Davidson says, is that SOG a Seki made or Taiwanese? I believe it's Seki. Oh, no, Taiwan. Taiwanese. Beautiful, man. I wish SOG just stuck to this this type of knife that they were doing in the late 90s and early 2000s. They really lost their compass, but Craig Vincent says that SOG is on my Bowie list. The only one ahead of it is the Cold Steel Laredo, and the Laredo is my favorite Cold Steel Bowie. I love that. I don't have it on the table right now. It resides in my closet upstairs next to the shotgun. So yeah, it is my go to war Bowie knife. I love that thing. The Natchez is kind of, I love the Natchez. It's second in line, I would say, in terms of the cold steels. But I do have to have a leather sheath made for it. That Securex leaves me cold, I got to say. Mr. Voorhees says, James Craft, bushcraft, is what you are doing when you go on a hike, catch a fish, and eat it, and then go on a bike ride. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah. Or, yeah, right. Anything that you're doing out in the bush, basically, and you're using your knife. And Gear Syndicate, nice to see you here, Gear. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Bob, I was wondering if you owned any Kiku Matsuda knives, one of my favorite knife makers. Now, I don't. I think I have this. So he did a couple of SOG designs, if I'm not mistaken, with the recurved tantos. And I have the small folder that he designed, and I can't remember what it's called. It's very nice for, I'm not even going to say just for a SOG, but that was right after they rebranded in like 2015, 2016. They came out with that one, and I can't remember what it's called. It's just out of arm's reach. But I know who you're talking about, and I know the look of his knives, and I've seen his customs on Arizona Custom Knives, and they're beautiful, especially the blades. Sometimes the handles are a little much for me, at least on the SOG versions. But yeah, I dig his work, definitely. Let's see, Pete, Northern Knives says, Pete, the biggest difference in the SOGs made in Seki or Taiwan is resale value on eBay. He says, I'm guessing Seki is a little more expensive. I do have an old folder. I have actually two, because Doug Bull gave me one. SOG folder made in Seki City, Japan. Angry Tom says, Bob, what was the name of that spike you had a little while ago? Where did I put it? Hang on one second, sir. It is the Wingard Wearables. Wingard Wearables is the company that makes all these cool tomahawks that are meant to go in the waistband, EDC tomahawks. That's why they're curved like this. Well, he also makes spikes and a couple of different ones. He's got this Dick Pick line. It's called Dick Pick. And that's just it. I remember when he came out with it, he did like a naming contest, and he's got so this is what they chose. They chose Dick Pick. They've got this one, a smaller one, which, like I said, is maybe slightly more carryable than this, and then a large one called the Magnum Dick Pick, and that thing is awesome too. And then he's got some other cool spike designs. I don't have them with me, called quills, and they're kind of like base clef shaped and sharp. So check out Wingard Wearables, Wingard Wearables. They're on Instagram. You can go to their website. A lot of cool, interesting tomahawks, definitely meant for fighting. Like this one is nice and light. It's called the Back Ripper. The inside of that curved portion is sharp. It's just wicked, and it's got a sheathing system that allows you to carry it down the leg of your pants, basically. Wingard Wearables. Jammin says, Bob, have you heard of any of... I've definitely heard of Dynamis. That's Dom Rosso. Dom Rosso's company, Dynamis Alliance Knives. They have a model that is similar to the Agent 001 with a symmetrical double... Yes, I've seen that. Yeah, it's kind of similar. It's more dagger though. It's more of a spear point, and it's got a cool. I was looking at that knife today. Actually, it's got a cool shaped handle. It's kind of modified coffin shaped handle, and then it's got a nice curved divot that's sharpened. It looks perfect for cutting cord. Um, Dom Rosso is a total badass. I believe he was a DevGru SEAL Team 6 guy, and he's been on. I met him in person and tried to get him on the show. I'd love to come on your show, and then, he's kind of one of those guys who's kind of hard to get to, hard to communicate with. So I haven't gotten him on the show. I want to at some point. But he was on Sean Ryan's show. It was a fascinating show. He's a guy with some serious experience, tactical experience, knife fighting experience, and and he's got the Razorback. I think you're talking about the Razorback, which is looks more like the Agent 001 than the daggery one I was just thinking of. Yeah, he's a mensch, man. What can I say? Very cool, and he's one of those guys who knows from experience for sure. Pete Davidson says, I hear you, Northern Knives, but I did see a significant difference in build quality and durability between the Seki-made Pentagon and the Taiwanese version. The Taiwanese one was thinner. Interesting. A Pentagon is sweet, and the tip seemed less durable. That Pentagon has been around for a long time. If you don't know what that is, it's a dagger boot knife that was made, and I think they still have a version of it, made by SOG, that had a back edge that was serrated. And my wife and I had a friend long ago. We still consider him a friend. We just haven't talked to him. Gave me a couple of my tattoos, a couple of my wife's tattoos. And he was a guy who used to kick my ass considerably every single time in martial arts class. But he would carry one of those things around. And man, I just thought it was the bee's knees. So cool, that knife. Have a Knife Day says, I have several of the Kiku SOG collaborations. Oh, the Kiku, that's what it is. The Kiku XR with the XR lock. That's the folder I was trying to think of, the Matsuda folder. And one of his D-Guard customs. What? That sounds awesome. Meet with him at any show, and we go to my wife and talk with him in Japanese. That's cool. Yeah, what a beautiful designers, beautiful designs from that guy. The Pentagon is epic. Yes, sir, it is, and it also has a coffin-shaped handle. Some of my favorite knives have coffin-shaped handles. Speaking of Japanese and sort of coffin-shaped handles, the James Williams HZ6 now has a new brother, the HZ4. This is the 6-inch bladed version. Now there's a 4-inch bladed version. I know Dave has one. Not sure if he's still here, but it would be cool to have that one and this one together. How cool. Yes, thank you, Jim. The Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway this month will be the third Thursday, as it always is. And this time that's February 20th. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, February 20th. You have until then to become a Gentleman Junkie and win whatever really badass knife will be given away then. I'm just not sure what it is right now. I'll talk to Shane. It just might be a edgy American Bowie knife, but we'll see. And also, we have these really sweet T-shirts. Don't take dull for an answer. You know what that is. And here's a sweet design that Jim came up with. And by the way, Jim is quite a talented designer. You can go to the knifejunkie.com/shop and check out all the really cool T-shirt designs he's put up there. There are also other things, mugs and lots of different things. You could drink your coffee out of a Knife Junkie mug and think of these golden tones as you do. Oh man, I wish I was not listening to my boss right now, but I wish I was listening to Bob talking about knives. It could be like that. Just go to the knifejunkie.com/shop. That's right. Let's see. What is my most tried and true grab and go knife? I got to think about that. Oh, I think I already told you. in terms of folder, in terms of front right pocket, it would have to be this, the DeMarco AD20. Pete Davidson says, I carried a Pentagon for ages in all manner of ways until I understood edge geometry and realizing that looking like Billy Badass shouldn't be high on my list of requirements in an EDC blade. Well, I'm just kidding. Well, the blade geometry on that, I guess it's a little thick behind the edge. I don't really, I know I experienced my friends, but I never, I wasn't in the blade geometry state of mind then. I was more in the Billy Badass frame of mind. And I do know that it goes into stuff and can tear out of stuff. But in terms of sliciness and all that, I would have to revisit. I would love to have an old Pentagon. That would be awesome. Jamin Parker says, yes, the Razorback or the Revere. Only thing is they only offer ADCRV2. I do like ADCRV2 with just a black oxide, so not sure how well it would do in the waistband carry, thinking it would rust. What do you think? ADCRV2, if I'm correct, is pretty, for a carbon steel, is pretty resistant, if I'm correct. And then I would imagine that black oxide would go the extra mile to keep it from too much oxidization. But another thing to remember is that its maker is a Navy SEAL. And so I'd like to presume that he would be interested in, A, knowing that a lot of people are going to carry it in different ways, carry it close to their bodies. But B, I'm sure SEAL types are always thinking about salt water. I'm sure they are. They must be. So I don't know. But I get your point. Definitely, it's not LC200N or Magna Cut. And by the way, Shane, if you're still here, what was that whole thing about Chinese Magna Cut? I was trying to do some. I didn't have much time, and I actually shouldn't have been looking at my phone at the time. But I was trying to do some forensics work on your post about Chinese Magna Cut and trying to figure out what that was all about. So let me know. Angry Tom says, those spikes started at 105. Thanks for the info, guys. I'm going to get me one. Oh, yeah. I mean, you will not be disappointed. And something to note about Wingard wearables, I have 3 of their Tomahawks, 3 of them. This one, the Empress and the Back Ripper, the Empress and the Stingray. And then I have this spike. Hey, Cal, nice to have you here, man. And then I also have the Quill. So I have 5 of their things. They're all made in the United States by different, like a different smith does the heads for these, and someone does this. He does all the hafting work. He being Zach Wingard out of Pennsylvania. He has different blacksmiths and different foundries all over the country making, for instance, I say foundries because the Empress, which is a spontoon tomahawk, is actually cast silicon bronze. And he has a foundry, an American foundry doing that. He has a couple of different blacksmiths making the different heads for different tomahawks. He's got several that I don't own also. And then he does all the finish work himself. So it's very much, and all of the hickory is American straight grain hickory. And I believe most of it is from his home state of Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of, and I've interviewed him a couple times. If you want to find out about him, just look up my Knife Junkie podcast interviews with Zach Wingard. I think I've done 3 of them. And then he's been on Thursday Night Knives a few times. So there's a lot of material there. And he's a very interesting guy. And I don't want to speak out of school, but I know that he does very interesting research work for the military. Very interesting guy. So I highly recommend his work, definitely. Craig Vincent says, Bob, have you noticed there seems to be a glut of budget kitchen knives in decent steels like 14C28N? I think the EDC community is driving all knife makers to do better. Craig, I have not noticed that, but that's great to hear. I think you're probably right. I think like just knife people have been allowed, and or I should say a very vocal enthusiast crowd, and I bet that's just leaking in or leaching into all sectors of the knife world. And it's also good to know because, oh, for instance, my wife's aunt was using my Vosteed Morgan. She's like, I must have this knife. I was like, you can't have mine, but you can order one. And I looked it up, and they're not making them anymore. So hopefully she can get another great knife, similar, also in a great steel. Have to cut out early, says Alex. Have a wonderful knife, everyone. Alex, have a great weekend. Be safe, and come back to us on Thursday, man. I look forward to it. Have a great weekend. Pete Davidson says, I have a collection of heavily carried, lightly used Billy Badass blades. Yeah, me too. That now sit in a sweet display case. Thanks, Spyderco, for showing me the light. Yeah, man, I've got a lot of them. I just love them. I can't get over it. Like, what have I used this for? I think I've opened a bag of Doritos with this knife or something like that. Maybe a bag of pasta. But yeah, haven't had too many knife engagements with this one. So I yeah, I don't know what to say. I have a ridiculous collection at this point. It's like if I actually sit down and look at everything, it's a little much. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, yeah, talk about someone with a collection of Billy Badass knives that don't get used. Yeah, that would be me. But if they do get used, that's a bad sign. That's how I like to look at it. Todd Carr, nice to have you here, Todd. 80 CRV2 is like 1084, so will rust if not taken care of. All right, roger that. But what about with the coating? What was that coating? Carbon nitride something. Yeah, okay, but it's like 1084, and I got you. Even less chromium than like 1095, so it's going to rust even easier. Jeremy Nedro says, good night, everyone. Jeremy, have an awesome night, man. Great to have you here. I have to work in the morning and require sleep in my older state. I know I too am in that state myself. Jamin Parker says, good point. Haha. Being a SEAL, I'm sure he's thought about corrosion resistance. I do like 80 CRV2. I have some T-Kells in that steel, as do I. Very nice to sharpen. Yeah, and T-Kell puts the nickel boron coating on all of his knives, no matter what they are. And I know that not only adds to the Rockwell hardness, but it also adds to the corrosion resistance, and it's a good thing. Angry Tom says, I appreciate your knowledge. Thank you very much. My wife is going to kill me. No, she won't. She will be happy that your knowledge has expanded and that you're okay. Sometimes you just can't avoid being killed by the wife. I get it. Vosteed Stallion, $35, says Craig Vincent. Oh, very nice. What are you talking about, though? Is that a folder? Martz, I like that picture. That's cute. Martz Capone. Oh, I get it. Nice to have you here, Martz Capone. Just got dude. Love that. Just got a Defiant 7 M32 trench knife. That's a Les George knife. That is so freaking gorgeous. I've handled those at Blade Show. Beautiful knife. Took a chance, got it sight unseen. Very impressive machining, almost perfect symmetry. The tie guard and pommel make it very light, easy, fast in hand. And that the top quillion is at that perfect angle with jimping on it, right, for your thumb. Am I correct in that? That is awesome. Defiant 7, I need to get. Defiant 7 is a company that I know that Les George has something more than just a designer interest in. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got a cool automatic with them right now that looks a lot like one of his custom knives. Can't remember which one it is, but that trench knife is it's so nice. It's so nice, and he's awesome. I love that guy, and I love his designs. Pete Davidson, playing dress ups with your favorite knives is fun. That's right. Yeah. Or something I used to say. I don't say this anymore. I don't have to justify my knives with my wife anymore, which is great. But it was like, well, if yeah, I would play on her imagination. She likes sci-fi. She likes post-apocalyptic movies and stuff. And I was like, when the shit goes down and everything falls apart, we have all these knives we can trade for food and services and other kind of stuff because everyone will always need knives. And she's like, maybe this guy does have it going on. No, I don't think she said that, but she's like, yeah, okay, if that's what you need to do. Bad Feather Knives. If Billy Badass ever has to use his knife, it's a good life. Yeah, no kidding. No, not really, but yes. Especially if it's this good looking. Look at that thing. That's gorgeous. All right, I'm going to pull out something else and show it off because I have some stuff out on the table. Why not bring it out? Like this classic. Who doesn't love a Randall knife? I mean, talk about classic. And by the way, this 16 Special Fighter with the #1 blade feels so good in hand, and it's got the full finger grooves. And usually full finger groove knives, one of the grooves is off, not everything. This is, whether you have it in a saber grip like this with your thumb extended and your fingers kind of raked back like that, or if you're in a full hammer grip, hammer fist like this, it just feels perfect in hand. The one thing about this knife is that I have to pull it out every once in a while and polish that brass guard because it does get a little funky next to the leather, but I don't mind that. Actually, yeah, it smells kind of good too. I don't mind that because it's kind of old school in so many different ways. And one thing I love about the old Randall knives is that to a knife, no matter which one, the swedge is always sharp. It's not just a zero ground, it's like a sharp swedge, even like their skinning knives. And I'm sure that's kind of antithetical to skinning knives, but I just like that they sharpen all of their swedges. Craig Vincent says, Vosteed Stallion is a chef's knife for your mother-in-law. Okay, all right, awesome. Fair enough. It's my wife's aunt, but yeah, close enough. 4116 steel, comparable to what Cold Steel uses. Craig, thank you, man. All right, this gets written down because this will make a great gift. Is it a similar shape to the Morgan? Do you know, Craig? Let's see, Vosteed Stallion. Listen to how this pen sounds. Chef's knife. All right, I will get this for Tia. She'll love it. Jammin Parker says, thinking about getting a carry blade from Hogtooth. Oh, please do. Other than the Nova 2, what would you recommend? I like the Nova 2, but I don't see it on the site. It was a limited one-time drop. Yes, it was, because it was a collaboration thing we did here. If you wait a year or so, he'll start selling it on his website. But I love the Ruffian. It's bigger. Or check out the EDC Tonto. That was my first Hogtooth knife, and it is outstanding. I mean, actually, the Hogtooth Knives EDC Tonto is this handle with a Tonto blade, and that's what inspired me to start doing collaborations with him. The Nova 1 is a recurve Bowie, and that came because I was carrying the Hogtooth EDC Tonto all the time, and I was like, hey man, can we do a collaboration where we use your handle and my blade shape? And he said yes, and the Nova 1 was born, and then the Nova 2. Check out the EDC Tonto. It's awesome. It's so good. It's great, and not for nothing, and I'm not going to betray too much, but he made one for a friend of his. So Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives is a former Marine Scout sniper, and he's retired from that. He's been making knives for 30 years. But anyway, a friend of his had a son who was going into the same line of work, and he got an EDC Tonto from Matt and was doing house clearing. And without going into too much detail, let me just say that knife saved his life. So the EDC Tonto is a proven knife. It's not only awesome because I love to EDC it, but it is awesome because it's been used in the field and saved someone's life. in an altercation. And putting that aside, I've used that knife, and I've used my Nova 1, but I've used the EDC Tanto to feather stick. It's great. It's like a great all-around knife. So I highly recommend it. And it's also on the lower end of cost in terms of those knives. And it's very EDCable. If you want something a little bit larger, something I EDC pretty much only in the winter and fall when my clothes are a little stouter, is the Ruffian. What a great knife the Ruffian is. Or you could get a small version of the Ruffian that fits in your pocket. That's great, but that's almost a 3.5 or 3 finger knife. It's a smaller one, but the Ruffian is great. So Ruffian or EDC Tanto is what I would say. And I wish I had them to show you. They're over there. So I'll put them on next week. You can check it out. Matt Chase is an awesome dude, and he is his knives are impeccable. Todd Carr says coatings will definitely make a difference as long as they are resistant enough to scratches and wear. DLC would be the best. That's diamond light coating, and most expensive, with others below it having benefits according to cost. Okay. Yeah, DLC is what they have on most Spydercos. It's awesome. We should do a junkie tour of the Randall factory as a group. Oh, dude, I'll meet you in what is that place in Florida? Randall Knife is in Florida, right outside of that city where Walt Disney World is. What the hell is that city? Why am I? Oh, don't even put it in the comments. I'll kick myself. I like your Paul Smith. I like your grouping of knives there. Randall made knives are my favorite combat blade, and that I don't yet own. All right, so Paul, here's a little tip. If you don't want to put in an order and wait 5 years to get a Randall, you should check in periodically with Knife Center. I know that they get some Randall knives every now and again. That's how I have 2 Randall knives, and that's all I will probably ever have. Or maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's all I need right now. And I got them both at the Knife Center, and they're both knives that I was longing for, like versions. I have the number 2 stiletto with the stacked leather commando style handle, and then this knife. And I got them both like from Knife Center. They had them. They get Randall sends out small little bursts of knives to retailers, but mostly if you want a Randall, you order it and you wait 5 years. So keep your eyes on Knife Center, and I know there are a couple of other retailers that have them on occasion. Craig Vincent, standard 8-inch chef's knife. I also have a Cold Steel Kitchen Classic Ontario Age Light in 14C28N and Tucson TS something or other. That's all of my Tucsons are that, Craig. Also in 14C28N and a Hoshano in VG10. VG10, the Morgan, the Bastide Morgan was clad VG10. So VG10 Edge and then something softer. Orlando. God damn. Thank you, man. Thank you, James. I'm ashamed that it took someone to tell me the city's Orlando. Dumb shit. Northern Knife says Randall turned off the back order countdown on the website when it went over 6 years. Oof. So I posted a video of this, I don't know, several years ago. And some tool in the comments was like, that is so substandard. I can see the grind, like blah, 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 and gave me all this freaking bologna sausage, from his point of view about how lame it is that I spent the money on a Randall. And I was just like, I didn't even dignify it. Well, I did dignify it with a response. I shouldn't have, but I don't remember what I said. Something to the effect of "Go suck an egg, you jackass." But I'm like, it is what it is, man. Okay, fine. Go get your whatever you get, and be happy with it, and just fuck off and leave me alone. And the other thing is, really, you got that much time to leave a negative comment? Every once in a while, I'll find myself typing a comment, and I'm like, I'll stop. and I'll just delete it and not. And I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need to get into that. Who needs to leave a negative comment? Your comments should only be, in my opinion, either relevant to what's being said, or to be like, hey, cool knife, or whatever. But I mean, if you're getting in there and you're like, oh my God, and it's like, dude, find something to do with your time. Jammin Parker says, what Blade shows will you be at this year, Bob? I will be at Blade Show in Atlanta for 100% sure. Still working to see if next month in Texas will work out. There's some complications that I'm trying to work through here. Yep, that is the thing. I don't. Just to comment on what you were saying, this is the only DC blades I have, Jim. I left the other ones by accident. I don't have them close at hand. Northern Knives says we could have been a Randall dealer. We had to decline because the process is unorthodox. Oh, do tell, sir. Do tell. Unorthodox in what way, I wonder? I'm not expecting you to spill the tea, as the kids say, but I wonder what that means, unorthodox. You have to like give them a back massage or something like that. Give them I won't say that. All right. Have a Knife Day says, many know of Randall and that guy. No one will know his name. Many know of Randall and that guy. No one will know his name. What are you talking about? This I got to know. For Randalls, I go to Arizona Custom Knives. Great idea. Arizona Custom Knives, period. But I feel like now there's something about Randall that I don't know, that both Mike and Mike have alluded to. And I'm curious now what that is. Pete Davidson, people wait years and pay hundreds of dollars for 440A stainless knife. Pete Davidson, it's not about the steel. If 440A served our American GIs all throughout World War II and beyond, it'll serve you and myself. It's not that. It's the legendary Randall knife, and the damn sheaths are awesome too. It is worth it. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. It was worth it to me. Not so worth it that I go out of my way. The negative guy, no one will remember his name. There is no dealer discount. You just get to skip the back order line for up to 25 knives a year. Oh, interesting. Wow. Wow. So you pay full price and then you have to jack it up to sell it. That doesn't seem exactly right. But the negative guy. Who are you talking about? Have a Knife Day. I will have to think about this. I don't know what you're talking about, but Pete, I get it, and a lot of people say that, but it's really not about the steel. You could make these out of Magna Cut or whatever, and that really wouldn't change things. I think he means he was a negative guy, but he's not there anymore. Oh, I got you. Okay, all right. I do know that Have a Knife Day has an awesome. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Jim. Can you go back to that, and then I'll come back to this. The guy that was being negative about Randall's that you were talking about. Oh, duh. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. FYI, for anyone who maybe wants one of those lame historical Randall knives, Arizona Custom Knives in Florida, not Arizona, has some on site. Caveat emptor. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if my dad is still awake, Caveat emptor was one of his favorites. I remember going to pick up a sack of McDonald's hamburgers, getting home, and they didn't have mine in there. I was like all hacked and pissed. And my dad's like, Caveat emptor, you should have opened up the bag and checked. Oh, I was so pissed. Northern Knives, got to run all. Appreciate the hang. Cigar Lounge is calling. My man, have a wonderful smoke. Great to have you here as always. And I'm looking forward to our chin wag coming up soon. So have a great night and weekend. Craig Vincent, Randalls are so legendary, they're not even on my list. Owning knives like that are what makes you the Junkie King, sir. Well, thank you, Craig. 'Twas nothing but an irresponsible choice that is now sort of lost to time, and what's left over in its wake is this beautiful knife. Pete Davidson says, you don't think a Randall wouldn't be better with an upgrade in steel? Not trying to be a jerk. Well, yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, it would be. It would be. But I guess the point is, it's sort of like saying, wouldn't the Mona Lisa be better in a more high quality modern oil paint? And yeah, it might be. It might have like more brilliant color and all of that. But I think, and I could be mistaken, but I think at this point, people who are buying Randalls are more collectors, and it might make it more collectible and expensive to have like a better steel. But it's kind of not the point. But I know exactly what you're saying, and I sort of agree with you in that there are some things where I'm like, I can't believe that they're asking that much for a knife in, like an S35 VN Hinderer for $450. S35, I can get that on but I don't know, Pete. To me, it's kind of it gets a pass for me. The legendary status of this gets a pass, but I totally get where you're coming from. I've kind of stopped caring about steels. For me, I'm more heat treat driven. And then yes, it's well, how do you know the heat treat is good? I don't. I'm just kind of trusting. I'm kind of trusting because I'm not using these things. I'm collecting them, so I might find out in a pinch when I use this in a. See, to me, this is not a survival. This is like a fighting knife, and a fighting knife to me doesn't need magna cut steel. It needs to be sharp in the moment you need it to be sharp. And, I don't know. I feel like this is a therapy session at this point, Pete. Yes, it would be better with magna cut. I agree, but I kind of don't care whether it's 440 or not. But I hear you. Anyway, Bad Feather Knife says, if you use the knife, better steel, sure. If you collect, you kind of want the history. No, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. I've never used this for anything, and I know there are people who do. I'm sure Have a Knife Day probably uses his. I don't use mine. As a matter of fact, it sticks in my craw that there's a gouge in that leather sheath there. But I'm like, well, that's what you get. But would I want this in 440A? And I'm not just showing this because it's an Agent 1, but would I want a TCAL knife in 440A? No, because I carry these all the time and I actually do use them. Do I use them for anything hardcore? No, occasionally what do you call it? Feather stick when I'm doing a family fire pit night, but it's not with this knife. But I have used the TCALs for that, or a hog tooth. And would I want 440? Probably not, because those actually get used. But the historical kind of collection pieces, I just kind of don't care. All right, I'm pulling into the station here. Let me read this. Jem Parker says, really love that Randall. That one reminds me of some knives from a blacksmith in Alaska I met. Really cool stuff. Wonder if he drew inspiration from Randall knives. Jem, I think a lot of people do, actually. They are awesome. Will be, if I owned a Randall, I'd carry it. I'd be carrying it. Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm out. Stay sharp. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your nose to the wind, and your ears to the ground. It's getting strange out there, no doubt. Good night, all. Good night, James. And I would say, crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. And have a great weekend. Dan Stan EDC. Hey, y'all. I'm late, but hello. Dan Steele, awesome to have you. Chad Dameron, thank you for showing up. What's up, knife freaks? He says you're gonna have to go back in time to check out, but it's awesome to have you with us. Todd Carr, they use that steel mostly due to the super cheap, easy to heat treat and polish. Again, cost and not having to upgrade machinery. If people still buy them, why change though? Same with SE and tops. Yeah, and SE and tops, like, why go beyond 1095? It's a great tough steel, and that's what you get those knives for, right? Banging around outside. Split and slices. Bye, y'all. Have a great weekend, Byron. You too, man. Mark Stallman. Adios, all. Mark, have a great weekend. Hit the lies. Hit the lies. Yes. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds cool. Have an awesome weekend. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, hit the likes. Thanks, Jim. I'm an idiot. Hit the like button before we dip out of here. Be sure to check out Sunday's episode 569 of the Knife Junkie podcast with Michael Grasso of Armis Knives. And check out the story behind this VSK1 and how awesome Michael and his company are. All right, everybody. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, and he was working overtime, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.